I think it's not a stretch to say if we go back to when 17 years ago, 20 years ago, when we were just kids here, those individuals who now sit on our operating board and lead this company alongside Dave were no way qualified to do what we're doing today. There's had to be tremendous growth and change and transformation. And I know one of your big themes when you talk about leadership is reinventing yourself. What does that mean to you?
It means that instead of being comfortable in becoming better at what you're naturally good at, it means, which there's nothing wrong with that. You should strive to do that. But reinvention's different. Reinvention means you actually build muscle that you've not used before. You actually become a different version of yourself, not just a better version of yourself. That's key.
Why is that? Like, you think about leadership, many business owners are going, okay, I got a lot of things I'm not good at. We could delegate. We could find people that could do it. I could get good at it. Why is it so key that we take on the responsibility of owning those things as leaders?
Well, to me, there's one specific thing that you should reinvent yourself if you're not good at, or maybe a couple. If you're a leadership at a high level in your organization, or you're the owner or the CEO, you need to be able to cast vision for your organization. If you are the type of leader who is overseeing operational things that are crucial to your business growing, then you've got to be good at details and operational things. For me, I was a very operational, behind-the-scenes leader for years. I don't like the limelight. I've never seen myself as a vision caster. And I was lucky enough that the leaders who reported up to me were very confident, competent, good leaders who I was more than happy to let them get the credit for everything. Like, they were out front. Now, I was behind the scenes very much directing them and giving them advice and growing them. But like, they were the ones out front that the company saw leading their areas. And in 2018, my story is that Dave challenged me, and our operating board as a whole really challenged me during our annual assessment time, that because what I lead, the areas of Ramsey Solutions I lead, are the tip of spear into the marketplace. The things I lead are like the entry point. It's the first touch point consumers have with us. So we call it the tip of spear for the rest of the organization. Because I lead those areas, I need to be out in front of the company telling the company where we're going. So for me, that's something I'd never done before. So I realized in that moment, I have to reinvent myself. I have to go from being just an operational directing leader to a visionary out front. That's not me being better at who I already am. That's me being a different version of myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It sounds like you're saying it. At that point, you were becoming the bottleneck. You realized as a leader, you were kind of limiting the vision, or was it?
Yeah, yes. But you know what? When I look back on it, what I think was happening, I don't know if Dave even fully realized it when he said it, or others, but Dave's got this succession plan he's building. Like, there's a date somewhere in the future where he's not the vision caster for this company anymore. And he's looking around at us going, who's going to be doing that? Who's going to be wearing my various hats? Well, and he's looking at me going, you lead tip of spear. Vision needs to come out of you, not just, the people below you. It needs to come out of you. You're on the operating board. You are the next generation of leader once I retire, theoretically. And so I think a lot of that was going on in his head, because he was the one that called it out the most blatantly that day.
I think it's a big misnomer to say that vision is a personality trait. You hear it thrown around a lot. I'm not a visionary. That's just not how I think. It's not how I'm wired. There's certainly, I believe, personalities that yield towards being more visionary, but I really think it's something everybody can develop.
I agree completely.
How did you develop this? You mentioned new muscles that you hadn't grown before, especially with vision.
I'm a very collaborative person. I like to roll with a posse everywhere I go. I find there's safety in numbers, but I also find there's wisdom in counsel. And so I immediately pulled a big group of leaders together. There were 13 of us total. And I put them in a room and I said, hey, the operating board said I need to flex this new muscle. I need to cast vision for this company. And I don't know how to do that. So you guys, most of you don't do that well either. So we're going to all figure this out together. And I started putting together a meeting series with that group of people, and we named ourselves the B2C board. And Luke Lefevre became my partner in crime. He's our chief creative officer. And he was really good at journaling and getting introspective and having quiet times and reading. And so he was like, hey, let's teach this group how to do that. So we just all put our hands in the middle and committed. We're going to go on this journey, and we are in our personal time going to really dedicate time to reading and praying and journaling and ask God to really give us this gift of vision. And there was nothing magical about it other than we carved out time to do it. And we would do it as a group. Like when we had our quarterly meetings where we would go off site for half a day or a full day, we would talk about a subject, then we would all go off individually and just journal about that for a while. And if you start writing things down on paper or typing them into a laptop, it doesn't matter either way. You just brain dump and you don't filter it. You don't worry about who's going to read it. That's when things come out that you didn't even know were in your head. If you follow Christ like I do, you do sense that like he's giving you things that he wants to give you when you start writing things down. But regardless, when you start brain dumping and you don't filter, that's when ideas come out that you never would have had if you didn't stop and take the time to have the thought. It's about time, honestly. We're so busy and so distracted. And if all of your quiet time is spent scrolling on your phone or even reading, there's nothing wrong with reading, but you're not allowing an empty space for you to just dump your own thoughts down. There is something magical about that without it being magical, if that makes sense.
A lot of people that have not done that or experienced that, I know this because I've talked with them and I've been them. There was a day when I didn't do this. It's very awkward at first to sit with your own thoughts. I think we're so addicted to scrolling, listening to the news, having something on to listen, whether it's music or whatever. I mean, we're just inundated with content. It's everywhere now. And you can literally, from the time you get out of bed till the time you crash at night, have something going in your ears and never really be thinking. And that's how most people live today. And so it's really uncomfortable to pause that and to stop and think and listen and pray. How do you early on kind of develop this habit and push through that? And also, how do you quantify the value of that? Because it's very foreign for a lot of people.
I have a good friend, Jake Smith, who does a lot of counseling and teaching people how to do stuff like this. And like he encourages people just to start with 1 minute. If you can just get in a quiet space before the rest of the family wakes up and just set a timer on your phone. And maybe it's 1 minute, maybe it's 2 minutes, and just sit in complete silence and just focus on your breathing. Just get familiar with how your body is relating to the space. There's nothing new age or weird about that. It's just you becoming aware. And the interesting thing about being aware of your breathing is most of us, I think, deal with so much anxiety from all the influx of distraction and communication and things like that when we actually pause and get quiet and pay attention to our breathing, we realize that's what's going on because our breathing's very shallow and your mind's going 100 miles an hour. And that's okay. Give yourself permission. Don't get upset with yourself. And then just start writing what those things are that are swirling around in your head. If it's just all the things you feel like you're supposed to do that day, if it's the things you're worried about your kids, whatever it is,
just get it out.
Just get it out.